Once upon a time, any time, in the kingdom of Hoffmania, there lived a good king, as far as good kings go, who had one of the most beautiful palaces in all the world. But still, the good king, as far as good kings go, was very unhappy. What a pity it is that our good king is so unhappy, the people of the kingdom would say. Everyone knew the reason for the good king's sadness, for he had a daughter who was never known to smile, not even a little one. She had her own court gestures, whose only job was to make the princes laugh. But just as everyone else, they had little luck. She had her own handmaids and servants to do her bidding. The king loved his young daughter more than anything else in the whole world and wanted so much to make her happy, so he issued the following proclamation. By decree of the good king, as far as good kings go, there's a standing invitation to all young men to come to the palace and make my daughter laugh, or even smile. Whosoever can do this, I shall give her hand in marriage, which was a treasure itself, and half my kingdom. All this to the man who can teach her eyes to sparkle and her lips to smile. Young men from all over the land came to the palace. There were princes and nobles, soldiers and plain folk, rich and poor. They came on horseback and on foot. The people spent months in discussing how to make the princes laugh. Would a daffy dance from a far-off country make her laugh? Or a tall tale heard while traveling on the road? One man came with a basket on his head. Oh, did he look funny? To everyone but the princess. She shook her head and said, "Poor fellow," with a tear in her eye. For many days the young men feasted at the palace. Tasty foods were served on gilded plates. Rare drinks from the king's private cellar were poured into crystal glasses. People from all over Hoffmania came before the princes. Maidens from the east, minstrels from the west, clowns from the north, jokers from the south, and still not a smile. Not far from the king's palace lived a poor workman whose name was Dummling. Early each morning he would go off to work. He was busy all day long. He swept the courtyard, took the cattle out to pasture, and did many other chores. One day, On his way to the palace, he met a little old man with a long beard. "I'm very hungry, young sir," cried the old man. "Will you give me some bread? For I have traveled far, and it's not easy for an old man to work for his meal." Now, Dumpling had only a crust of bread for himself, but he was a good fellow and gave the bread to the beggar. The old man took the crust and he disappeared, and in his place stood a shining unicorn. Dumpling was so overwhelmed that he jumped up and down and laughed. "Ho-ho!" he said. "That's a fine gift to give to the princess." And he picked up the unicorn and went on his way. Soon he met on the road a mean old lady. She stared very greedily at the unicorn. No sooner had Dumpling passed by that the old lady tried to snatch her hair from the unicorn's tail. To her surprise, she was stuck fast. Why, she couldn't let go. No matter how hard she tried, and she did try, she couldn't let go. Further down the road, they met the town undertaker, who made more money than most people anyway, but was eager for more, who just couldn't resist the unicorn. And he too was stuck fast. After a while, they met a parson coming down the road. "Stop, you naughty people!" And you guessed it, he too was stuck. The worst was yet to come. Further up the road to the king's castle, Dumpling, the mean old lady, the undertaker, and the parson met the town butcher, who immediately tried to lend assistance to the parson. As any good parishioner would, he grabbed the parson and, you guessed it, he too was held fast. As the silver parade grew nearer to the king's castle, they met the farmer and his wife, and oh no! They too were stuck. Tim and Tom, the town twins who did everything together, saw the silly parade as it came down the path, and they too were stuck. Over in the meadow, 3 merry maidens who loved to dance in the clover. But when they saw the parade coming past, they just couldn't resist. So they too joined the silly parade. Not far away, the king was enjoying the sun from his balcony when he saw coming off in the distance, in the forest, a procession of people. As they came closer, he could see there was something unusual about this procession, and he began to laugh. And he called for the others. When they saw the sight, they also began to laugh. Wishing to share this hilarious sight with the princes, he invited them to come to the castle. As usual, the princess was sitting sadly and thought nothing of the king's proclamation that she was about to see an hilarious sight. Expression began to change. The more she studied the silly parade, the more she changed. She looked once more, and the corner of her mouth turned up. And then the princess laughed, and she really laughed. And what a happy laugh it was. Her face glowed like the very jewels she wore. She laughed, she shouted. The boy made her laugh, and he began to hop and jump up and down in sheer delight. The courtiers, seeing and hearing the happiness, began to jump and shout. The princess really laughed. The princess herself, overwhelmed by what she had done, began to shout, "I laughed! I really laughed!" Within a few days, the good king, and he really was a good king, kept his promise, and a great wedding was held in the castle. Music filled the air, bells pealed across the land, and even the birds joined in the wedding song. But the loveliest sound of all, or so everyone said, was the bright and joyous laughter of the happy princess.